Hey everyone, welcome back to another World of Warcraft Dragonflight beta video. This is a continuation in a series where I'm trying to get targeted feedback from you guys about different elements of the guides that I'm going to be putting out during the pre-patch and at the start of Dragonflight, intended to help people have a talent build that will get them from 60 to 70. So if you haven't seen the rest of this series, I'd encourage you to check it out. The very first video, I kind of explained why we're doing this, what the purpose is, and ask some questions about UI, keybinds, and action bar setup. In the second video in the series, I asked for feedback about how to go through the talent build itself. And in this video, what I want to cover is how to go through the rotation and demo it and showcase it. So that's what we're going to get into here. You guys, this is a great opportunity for you to influence the way these guides are going to turn out when I actually do make them. So hit the comment section and definitely let me know what you think about all this stuff. So we're going to hop in here and we're going to kind of do a demo of the way I'm thinking about doing it, and then you guys can provide feedback here. So when it comes to the rotations, I look at this a few different ways. So first off, you're going to have a rotation that is going to be based on you having everything on cooldown, right? That potentially has a cooldown. And so I call it the everything on cooldown rotation. The rotation that just uses the very basic abilities and doesn't incorporate anything that has longer than maybe like a 15-second cooldown on it. So I like to showcase that first and just go, hey, if you don't have anything else going on, this is what your cooldown or what your rotation is going to look like. So we're going to kind of demo what that'll look like here, but essentially, you know, we're going to approach this, and the first thing we're going to talk about is like, how do we engage, right? So in the case of Warrior, we're going to engage with Charge. And then we'll talk about our other abilities and basically just say, hey guys, this is the core rotation we're using all the time. We're using Charge, Revenge, Shield Slam, Impending Victory, Rend, Thunderclap, and Execute. So these are the abilities we're using, plus I guess Pummel. When everything is on cooldown, we're still going to use these. And this is what that rotation is going to look like, right? So then we'll go in and we'll go, okay, so you engage with Charge, and then you want to use Shield Slam to get it on cooldown. Apply your Rend. You can Thunderclap if you want. Shield Slam. You're going to spend your Rage on Revenge. I'm not actually trying to do this right now. I'm just trying to give you an example. And then we'll go through and just kind of talk about, you know, this rotation and what it all looks like. When it comes to having nothing on cooldown. So then the next step would be talking about, okay, so here are the things that you're going to incorporate as often as you can. So these are cooldowns that we have that we want to use as much as possible to increase our survivability or our DPS or whatever. And that's where we would pull in the inclusion of like Demoralizing Shout, Thunderous Roar, and maybe Ravager. Basically anything that's like a minute and a half cooldown or less that we want to use all the time that's not super situational. We could also include Stormbolt in that 30-second stun. So you can incorporate that into the rotation as well. And so we would come back in, and if anything changed, like, hey, the approach changed, or like, hey, we can Heroic Leap now. That's a 30-second cooldown. So if you don't have Charge available, then you can Heroic Leap in. And now we want to go ahead and cast Demoralizing Shouts. We want to cast our Thunderous Roar. We can drop our Ravager onto the person. We can stun them with Stormbolt. And, you know, then we can get into our regular rotation and talk about, you know, how this all flows and what it looks like. And, you know, everything is on cooldown. So, or everything is available. So we're dumping maximum amount of damage onto the target. So this would be something like a rare spawn, or if you're going to pull like a big group of enemies and you want to kill them as fast as possible, you want to use all the cooldowns you have. And then the final thing for rotation here would just be talking about additional options for rotation, and also talking about when to use situational abilities and defensive abilities. So, you know, we come in and say like, hey, you know, if you engage with a target and your health gets, you know, super low, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit last stand to increase your health and heal yourself. You know, if you're in a really sticky situation that you can't get out of with just impending victory heals, then pop last stand, and that's going to get you back up to speed pretty quickly. Or, you know, hey, if you have to run away, hamstring a target, you know, whatever. Like, there's nothing really here. Like, situationally, if you want to, you can use, you know, heroic throw to pull over another enemy to the group you're already in without having to move, you know, stuff like that, right? So, how dare you take my mob, dick. That was... All right, so that's basically what I would do in terms of like a general rotation. Now, my intention is to pair these with a weak aura's rotation helper in order to make a lot of this process easy, where you would essentially just cast the next thing it showed in the queue. So getting into that might actually change the way that this is done. But for the most part, this is basically how this would go. And I want to get your feedback on whether you think like, hey, okay, yeah, that's good enough, like no problems. Or if I am like really missing something that you'd like to see. So you guys, let me know. That's all I got for this video. Pretty short, pretty sweet, but let me know in the comment section below if you think that logic for doing the rotations makes sense. So first we look at just the basic rotation if you're not incorporating any cooldowns. Then we look at the full rotation that you really do want to use as much as possible to maximize like your DPS and stuff. And then we can look at, you know, the situational abilities and when to use those. And then hopefully, like I said, my intention is to kind of pair that with a weak aura's rotation helper setup that will basically just tell you, like, you'll still have to use your own judgment, but it'll essentially tell you what button to push next. So we'll get into that. That'll be covered in a future video. So let me know what you think about this approach to the rotations. Hit the comments and be sure to provide feedback because your feedback is going to influence the way I put these guides together. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.